Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I'll be your host this evening. I want to thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. And I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered member to find the link and to be part of the following after party and the live stream, obviously. Now, here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member or not logged into Stunthangar Forum, the At the Bench link will not appear. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Smart Men Flying. And when you register, you must place a space between your real first and last name. You also must have a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar will not approve you. Now, if you're inclined to not come in, just enjoy watching this on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box, and I'll do my best to make your questions or comments a part of the show. Now, understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient. I will ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comment. By the way, you only can make comments or ask questions during a live stream. So like I said earlier, I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you find the Stunthangar Video Hangouts that I host or the many building videos at John Jordan's house, videos of them building planes, the contest coverage that Sparky does, if you find that's informative and enjoyable, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and when you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all so that whether myself or Sparky comes in, you will be notified. Now, you also can please consider joining our YouTube channel, which is right down below. There's a membership button, it's blue. Hit that, and the membership started at just $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And by the way, I'm a member. I have the $4.99 come out of my checking account each and every month, and I don't miss it. And I suspect you won't miss it either. Plus, you'll be supporting your hobby, which I hope you enjoy and love. And we're here to help you enjoy that to the fullest. And you also can show your support by using the super chat over here, which is below the chat box. You can donate any amount you like, and we appreciate it. And what you're doing is helping offset just some of the expenses of running Stunthangar. And with that, you'll get, if you join our YouTube memberships, you'll get special badges and stickers that Sparky and I can see. You also get unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. Now, this is Sparky's YouTube channel. I'm only here Mondays and Fridays. So if you want to get in touch with me, go to my YouTube channel, which is called Flying Control Line Stunt. That's Flying Control Line Stunt, and place a question or comment, used at the 2019 AMA National Championship video, which Sparky shot with his video camera of me flying his Junar XL at the Nationals. And if you do that, I'll receive a notification and be able to respond to you quickly, because that's my channel and this is not my channel. I want to thank you for your past, your present, and your future support. You are making it happen. Please keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words or do things you wouldn't do or say around your own children or grandchildren. And without any further ado, I'm going to post a link now at Stunthangar Forum. And let me do that right now. So let me see. I use 3 monitors to keep up with the show. And I'm turning my attention away to post this link at stunthangar.com. And let me see how the how this showing up on the YouTube side. So I'm going to what I call the control panel. Just give me a moment here. It's always a few clicks and waiting for the internet. And let's see, I'm gonna get a report to you what's going on in the channel, in the chat. Here we go. It looks like we are streaming. That's good. And it looks like I have Bob Whitley making his way in here. I'm right with you, Bob. And let's see, we have 14 concurrent viewers. Thank you very much. And we have 7 likes. So half of you have already hit the like button. And if you haven't done it, please do that. And I see Jeff Riley's in the chat box. He says, hi, Charles. Had to click the like button for you. I'll be in a few. Well, that's great. Jeff Riley's going to join us. That's awesome. And let me just do another thing, Bob. I'm right with you. Let me edit this real quick. And looks like we have Dennis Adamison coming in. Awesome. All right, and let me click this. All righty, and Mark Lumen says, got you like me in the short. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mark. So Bob Whitley was in first. So how you doing, Bob?
I'm doing really good. I'm playing hooky tomorrow.
All
right. We've got near perfect weather.
All right.
So Paul Jabot and I are going flying in the afternoon and maybe evening. And other good news on it is my dad's getting out of his COVID isolation in the extended care home tomorrow. So I'll be getting him out of his room and trying to get him his head sorted out. He has bad dementia, so he really doesn't know what's been happening to him.
Yes, I'm so sorry, but
so
I'm glad that he's getting out of that special care. That's great, and being separated and all that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Awesome.
Should be good. So I don't really have a lot of time right now. I'll probably be joining you again later. I've got a bunch of stuff to take care of outside and whatnot, but like is given. I've done nothing model-wise since Friday night, except go buy some copper tubings to make up some new lines. But
very good.
Nothing too much exciting, but all should be good. If all goes well tomorrow, I'll have a good maiden flight on my Vector.
Oh, great. Oh yeah, maiden flights. Those are all very exciting.
So I'm going to take my Vector and a couple of my RSTs out, bring them out. Hopefully come back with 3 intact airplanes.
Hopefully. Wow, look who's here. Do you see who's here in the bottom there? Peter. Wow, that is so awesome. Sorry to jump ahead of you, Dennis. I know that Dennis, you came in second, but what a treat. I'm so glad to see you, Peter. Awesome.
Yeah, I was on my phone, just finished texting some things, and I saw the notification pop up that the chat session had started, and I said, let me get online and at least let everybody know that I'm okay, and Google, I'm still with you guys.
That's great to see you, man. That is really a treat. I'm sure I can speak for everybody.
Yes.
With you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to sneak away, like I said, Charles, and I'll see you back in a bit. And I think mine was probably the first like. So you've got mine.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Catch you later.
Let me catch up here. Dennis Adamison, thank you for coming in, and glad to see you again. I can't hear you though. I'm glad to hear you too. Once I can hear you. We can't hear you, Dennis. I don't know why, but we can't hear you.
How about now?
I can hear you now. Wow.
Always helps when I turn the microphone on. So
it's amazing.
That's it. But Bob beat me in, but at least I finally got here before Gary did. So
yes, you beat Gary. But you know what? So I guess the first VIP was Bob Whitley, and then you, Dennis, and then Gary and Stuart. Welcome, Stuart. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. And John Millard's in the house. Thank you, John, for coming in.
Hi, John.
And thank you, Gary Sinclair, for coming in. I appreciate that immensely.
Now it looks like Stewart is in about hip deep on a monocoating job there or something.
Lots of patches.
Okay.
Very cool. So I didn't do any flying today. I actually was finishing up putting in a new engine mount. I know that Dennis and I have been talking about this, but I believe I did it better. So
I hope so. Since the last one failed, yeah. But,
I expect that this is the ticket.
all right.
And what's different is I put some gussets behind the engine behind the motor mount.
Yeah.
These triangular pieces of wood on the fuselage sides to capture that. I did. And the reason why I did that is I spoke to Bob Hunt, and he squared me away. He sent me an image of how he does it, and I basically just copied what Bob Hunt does.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is G10 material. I didn't know what it, and it is dyed black. That's why I thought it was carbon fiber. But yeah, you're right, John. You can't go wrong copying his Bob Hunt's PDFs that he has, and he has them. He has a plethora of information that he'll just email you free, no charge. The products cost, but the information is free. That's almost a direct quote from Bob Hunt. So, anybody doing any flying this weekend?
No, we've been getting just lots of rain and wind, and actually the last couple of days here I got grandkids, so it's keeping us busy here. They're all upstairs watching The Bachelor, or Bachelorettes, I guess. So
very cool.
That's another good reason to be here and not there. But
yes,
yeah.
I remember Wendy Ranowski sneaking away in the shop, trying to get away from not necessarily trying to get away, but Karen liked watching TV, and he would sneak down the shop and work on his planes. So what plane you working on, Stuart? That looked like a
plane Len gave me. This is the one I told you I smucked last week, and I just got her back together and patching her up so we can work on that outside loop thing. So,
yeah, those outside loops can be a little different.
Yeah, I'll get her soon. I think I can do it. I just kind of screwed up in our communications with Len when I kind of did the wrong thing. So, oh well.
Yeah, those lessons are instantaneous, but hopefully they last forever. You remember to not do that again, to not repeat that same mistake.
So I think once I do it once more, I'll be able to get it. It should be all right. Then I can start doing the pattern and slowly work into it.
So what can you do now? Can you fly inverted or not?
You can do inverted cross wing overs, boxes, but I'm not doing the outside ones yet. Loops. So it's coming along.
Very good. Just
for me, the kryptonite was inverted flight. It took me 2 years to fly a lap inverted. The first flight that I did 2 inverted laps, I did all the maneuvers of the stunt pattern. But it was just the very first, and it was just crazy because I've been, of course, hanging out with my dad and my brothers. I saw what you had to do and everything like that. And I never had a blind spot about doing outside loops or anything like that. It was just, I started doing enough tricks to, immediately I was doing stunt patterns. I think I did 4 patterns that night, and that was that. But it was just I could not hold the airplane inverted. So
I was telling in the after party, I was talking to Bob Whitley, and I was just telling him one thing you might want to consider doing is just in your home, just turn the opposite way, because some people get disoriented just turning the other way. They actually have a revisit of dizziness, all the things they had when they first flew, turning the usual direction. But when they go inverted, everything is reversed, and then they get, besides getting anxious, but you're also have a little bit of dizziness. It just can lead to all kinds of crashing.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot to that. Yeah.
yeah, the inverted. Yeah, it was. It's where I find it bad is I go inverted and I come back the other way, and then I'm like 3 laps to focus in on the plane. So, but
Yeah, it's just going back and forth. You got to get it. Just eventually becomes you can't tell the difference. You feel the same
Mhm.
way either
it's
direction.
getting on the dizziness. Like I don't get it as bad. So it's
Looking back on it, I wish I had more presence of mind to try things like lazy eights. All right. Because what that does is it just gets you used to applying an inside control and applying an outside control and everything, and you can think it through. You can almost do it mechanically.
yeah, I can do that. I can do the lazy 8 too, and
Okay.
it's pretty easy. I just
Mhm.
got to do it. Once I do this outside loop a couple times, then I'll start doing the rest of it. So
Try to make, sometimes it helps if you just let the thing go really big, because then you got lots of room to recover on the bottom. And
yeah,
yeah,
that's I got to keep it up because I know just doing the inside
Mhm.
loop you don't when
Yeah.
you're smart. But
Yeah, my kryptonite was the outside square loop. I was scared, totally chicken to do that. And I had a contest coming up, and I just had to I just white knuckled it. I did the smallest outside square I think I've ever done in my life. It was just bam, 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 bam.
you did it.
The plane survived too. I almost stalled it and almost fell out the sky. But after that, then I realized, okay, I have a lot of more room after I hit down before I hit the deck. It just took me, the real experience to realize how much time I had.
I've been learning a new dance in the circle. Just the way I was walking forward like this, and now I start stepping backwards a little bit. And what a difference! It was really awkward doing it, especially doing it inverted. It was like I kind of stepped backwards and cross over, almost like skating. And once I did that, it was like it's really, I can really feel the difference in the way the plane flies because I'm staying with the wing better. So it's that's really helped too. Kim gave me a tip on that one when he was here. I think he's the Balsa Beaver president or something, but he helped me with a couple of things last week too. So it's good to get those tips.
Oh, it is. These experts, they have insight and they could really help a person. That's why I always encourage someone to, if they can, find someone in their local area if it's possible. Sometimes you might have to drive an hour, but hook up. You'll get your gas money back and everything. Just going to see an expert and have them just watch you fly, and you might pick up on a small thing.
He came down from Toronto to the bean field, so they were in that contest Brad had. So it was good. I learned a lot from it. Even a lot. You get talking to different people. It's great. So
yeah. Now it's a pretty active group there. If you're in the middle with them, they'll help you. They should be able to get you lots of help on that. So
Ben's good, Brad. I've had a lot of help, so it's been really good.
yeah.
So Peter, I have a message on the chat from Mark Lumen. He said, "Whoa, hey Peter, so glad to see you, buddy." And
I'm so glad to see everybody else as well. I'll get into more of my story a little bit in the after party, but this is for airplane talk, so I'm
yeah,
the airplane talk.
very cool. Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about you, and I've reached out to you. I'm sure you heard the messages and all that. And then Jack Snavely says, "Hello, all around the world. Just saying hi and enjoying the show." And there's airplane stickers, and like always. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. And Jeff Riley says, I lost a handful of planes learning the hourglass. Oh, yes. The hourglass is difficult. I actually lost more planes. I didn't lose one plane doing the outside square. I was just scared of the maneuver. The maneuver that I lost a bunch of planes was the vertical 8. And I would just pancake them at the bottoms. I wasn't following through. After you transition from upstairs down to downstairs, you need to follow. I needed to follow my hand all the way around because I just kept my hand there. And then when the plane got below me, I lost my down input and the plane basically wasn't turning, and I'd pancake it. And a friend of mine, he caught on to that. He goes, Charles, you need to follow down to keep that down input given to the airplane. And I go, oh, okay. Then I stopped crashing for that maneuver. Looks like Mark Lumen's making his way in here. And so I just been working on the SV11. I'm looking forward to going flying tomorrow. I thought I'd be out there today, but just ran out of time. I spent most of the day Sunday working on it, and I was pushing and pushing, but you know, constructing the mount support and all that took a lot of time. And but I really believe it's oh, you're muted again, Dennis. I don't know how that.
Were you able to reuse the mount that you had cut before?
Oh, I had to because I don't have any other.
Okay. I was going to say that material is pretty tough. I can imagine that you actually broke that material. But,
I didn't break it, but I had to. I used a Dremel tool with the steel brush to take off all the old glue, and then I used the Dremel tool to cut more cuts in it to make it have more teeth. Spent a lot of time doing that. But yeah, I really believe it is solid as it needs to be. It might be a little bit even more than it needs to be, but at least it's if I bump into the prop or it's not going to break the mount. That mount is very solid.
Yeah. Well, that's another place where, you know, you really can't overdo it. I don't think when we talk about putting in a strong bell crank and things like that. Well, putting in a strong motor mount is way high on the list of good things. That's a very good thing. So, I mean, that's something that should never fail. So,
yeah. So, yes, this is no criticism of the SV11 electric. It's just the mount that I was putting in. It's not the original mount that was broken.
The original wood mount, there have been people complaining about the mount, both the Vector and the SV11. And I'm kind of curious about that. It is 2 layers of plywood. But I don't think, used to be, you used 1/8-inch plywood. It was 5-ply birch, and the stuff was incredibly strong and everything like that. And that stuff isn't around anymore. And I guess my only suggestion right now, in fact, I wrote this to somebody today. I suggested that first step, he has a new Vector, and I told him to just basically flood the mount with thin CA and try to soak it in thin CA as a means of toughening it up. And then also put I've been doing this on really anything with a wooden mount. I embed some 5/32 tubing, which is 1/8 ID, and you just put that in there. That provides spectacular crush resistance. So, and if you don't crush it, the wood, short of crashing, the wood really can't fail. So
yeah, on my other SV11, I'm gonna put the tubes in there, brass tubes, so that I can't crush it.
That would be a good thing. Or even maybe right out of the box, even get another one of those phenolic mounts and just crush it right out of the mount, right out of the box. Just go ahead and do it that way. So
yeah,
so
because it was a light ply laminated, two pieces of light ply, what my SV11 has, or the equivalent of light ply. It wasn't like birch,
right,
5-ply at all. It was just,
well, the motor box, if you will, around it is all plywood and everything like that. So it should be a really good place, anchorage for the motor mount plate.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know, anything you can do to toughen up the motor mount plate against crushing would pay off. So
Yeah.
anyhow.
So Jeff Riley says, trying to understand what he's writing. I see an uppercase M, then 2 commas, then mini, then a comma, then MLK. I don't know what that means. Hey, Caffeine, thanks for coming in.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. So I'm curious, how was your maiden flight with your Vector?
I didn't fly it, but I did some more break-in and some experimentation with the fuel tank. It turned out the Magnum metal fuel tank was the problem. I tried to use the RC plastic clunk tank, and it was running really well. I have some video of the two tanks if you wanna see the difference.
Sure. Yeah.
Let me share it first. Share screen. So well, let's see. So this is the first one with the Magnum fuel tank. Yeah,
Okay.
it stopped like that. It happened like also last weekend. Not yesterday, but last weekend.
Okay.
It stopped like that when I was flying it, and then when I tried to using the fuel tank, wait. This one is using the RC plankton. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it. So that's a clunk tank?
Yes, that's clunk tank. I was trying all the movements, tilt it up, tilt it down. And the engine stopped because of the fuel was empty, not like the Magnum. Yeah, that's how my weekend went.
Okay. Well, at least you got to the problem, which was the metal tank has a problem, correct?
Yes, I guess so. I think I really need to open the back part of the metal tank, I guess.
Yeah. You need to open it up and even check your plumbing, make sure there's no the pipes aren't clogged or anything, or there's no problem.
Yeah.
But it's just an observation on my part. I could be mistaken, but it just sounds like you're running the motor a little bit too hard also.
Oh, okay.
The motor, you want to leave a little bit of room so that when you go into the maneuver, the motor can speed up. It sounds like it's already running pretty fast. So that's kind of one thing, but that won't affect the problem that you're having. That's just a side note. That's just when you're running your engine and when you're flying maneuvers, you just want to have it do more of a 4-2 brake. So it's kind of like force cycling. And then when you raise the nose up, the motor will speed up. But if you're already there, it can't speed up.
Yeah. But
hey, Phil's in the house. Hi,
There you
Phil.
go.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Peter's here. Good
Yes.
to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Yes.
You're the
yes.
star of the show tonight, Peter.
Yeah, it's been a rough several months, but I'll get into that later.
I'm
That's
just glad
okay.
to see you. Where'd he go?
Yes.
There he went. Okay. Anyway, how is everybody?
Doing
I know I'm
good.
getting in here a little late to get started with
That's
questions.
okay. No, we're all doing pretty good. I've been working on my SV11. I don't know if you heard that part, but I had to for the third time put in the same engine mount plate, that G10 material. I believe I have it in correctly. I talked to Bob Hunt over the weekend, and he squared me away and sent me his PDFs on how he mounts his RC engine. Excuse me, how he mounts his electric motors. And
well, didn't you already have that thing? I mean, didn't it already have a wooden mount in it?
It did, but it had I had crushing, and also I had incidents that was pointing the motor into the circle. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I discovered that, and so I cut out the old plywood mount with a Dremel tool, and then I put in behind it this G10 material that Bob Hunt sells.
Yeah.
And then I tried multiple ways of doing it, but I believe I have it now. It's gonna.
That's good to hear. I did when I was getting ready to do my first one like that with a plywood mount. I was lucky. I read something that Dennis had written, and he's told about putting those pieces of brass in there and stiffening it up a little bit. And it's so far it's holding up.
Yeah, I missed
y'all think Dennis is about 2/3 crazy, but he's got some good ideas.
No, he does. He does. I rely upon
I only
Dennis
say that because he's
quite a bit. I mean, Dennis has been helping me since September. Last September, come up on a year with SV11, and I tell you, my SV11 is flying really good. And the gentleman there in the screen there, and also Steve Hines. Between Steve Hines and Dennis Adamison, I've been getting
Steve's
squared
pretty
away.
good too. Between Steve Hines, Bob Hunt, and Dennis, if you can't find out, you got a heck of a problem.
Yes, and there's some
Dennis
other
is darn sharp.
There's some electric guys also that I've consulted as well. I have to give them a shout out. Lynn
Burrell.
I'm trying to remember Lynn's last name. Forgive me, Lynn. Can't believe it. Real tall guy.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, escapes me momentarily. Anyways, he doesn't watch the show anyway. So Lynn, and then I've gotten some help from Steve Harris. And so it's just like a whole new electrical community. And Howard Rush. Howard Rush has given me help too. So it's
has anybody heard
Linehart Smith?
Linhart Smith. How did I forget Smith?
I don't know.
I think I was messed up by saying Lynn. If I would have said Linhart.
Yeah, Line. Yeah. Big tall man.
He's well, Dennis and I are neither one short, and he's a tall man.
Yeah, that's like, we're both, we're stiff necked region there with
I mean that
Hearts in the house. Yeah.
I don't know how tall he is, but he is tall. He's quite tall. I'm glad it's him and not me, because I have enough trouble bumping my head as it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, Linehart is one of the first people I saw with an electric airplane. The first Brodak I went to, Mike Palco was there, and of course by that time was famous for what he was doing with his silencer. He qualified for the Nats with it and everything like that, which was, believe it or not, a really big thing back then, to qualify an electric airplane.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I think the summer before, and the next Brodak, Linehart Smith had a Ray Bearcat built from the magazine plan, and it was half built when he decided he was going to make it electric. And that was, I thought, a pretty substantial project to be electric, and it just breezed on through. And there was this third guy, Jack Weston, I think it was, one of the Philly Flyers. And his, in its own way, was the most impressive of all, because he took a Vector ARF, which to me, starting with an ARF and then converting it over for electric. I mean, he was not optimized by any stretch of the imagination, and it worked like crazy, you know? And it's like that just, in my mind, those three airplanes, those three guys, those three airplanes, you know, basically told me that you want to make it electric, you can make it electric. That's just that simple.
Yeah.
You know, there's no limits on size or weight or anything like that. It was,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. You've just really been working on details ever since.
The first one I saw was Mike's, and I think he called it high voltage or something like that. I can't remember. I got pictures of it somewhere, but I got CRS bad. But anyway, that amazed me. He went out there, and I didn't realize it was electric. I didn't see the name on it or anything. I just saw him carrying the plane out. And I turned around, I'm talking to somebody else, you know, and somebody asked me something about my airplane, and I turned back around, and all of a sudden the plane took off, and I'm sitting there, where the heck's the noise? What? And it came around one time, and I turned around, and Bob Hunt was standing there. I said, Bob, what the? He says, it's electric. You mean they got them that work? And he did. That was amazing. That was the first one I saw. There was big red. I think it was high voltage on the wing of it. I can't remember.
No, I think that was the one called Silencer. I know Joe
Silencer.
Daly calls his airplane high voltage.
Yeah, you're right. Silencer was it. Okay.
Yeah, and I
it.
think that was actually based on Robbie Hunt's Europa.
Yeah.
I think that was the seed material, and he
I'll tell you one
course,
thing.
revamped it.
It sure blew my mind. That thing took
Mhm.
off and there's no noise. I said, I've heard of some good mufflers, but that's ridiculous.
The crazy thing is that if you took that exact airplane with what we have now, what we know about motors and batteries and stuff, you could take probably almost a half a pound out of it,
Yeah.
and it would perform that much better. And it flew pretty darn good the way it was. So
Yeah. Dennis, I got one for you. You know, we were talking not Friday night, but last Monday, we were talking about lines, and Jim Hoffman mentioned that he had some break.
yeah,
I went and took mine out in the front yard and pulled it, made up a thing, attached it to the boat, and made it where I could pull the lines and knew it wasn't going to give. Well, the first ones I did, I didn't get any stretch, but there were those black lines. Didn't measure any measurable stretch at all. These 100-pound stretched 3 inches, a little over 3 inches.
mm-hmm.
But the second one I pulled it to 51 pounds, and I got 55 seconds and landed on my butt. And I'm sitting there on my keister in the wet grass going, what the heck just happened? So I got inside and got a good magnifying glass and got to looking at it. I was going to have a thing to show y'all tonight and show you how to do it, how I figured out how to do it. But I got to reading back through Bass Pro Shop and several places have publicized the best knots and how to do the best knots. And since we take a figure 8 knot and double it, you know, you carry it out, and I carry my line out 18 inches past where I want. I put a dot. And I go out here 6 inches and bend this all back. So I got, of that 18 inches, I got 6 inches here, 6 inches back, 6 inches down here. Then I go to my dot and I bend it in half this way and put the lines one over each other. And, you know, when it's new, it's kind of stiff and you can do it. You take this thing and you tie it. When you tie it, make sure that these lines go over the other one as 4 lines, not as 2, or worse yet, what mine did was 3 and 1 under it at an angle. Because that's where it broke, right there. The line cut the other line at 51 pounds.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
You got to tie 100% knot. And if you don't, it don't matter what the line does, you're going to cut it. It's going to cut itself.
Well, it's one reason, you know, and basically in any of the knot tying things will say something like lubricate it, and the ones who are a little less, you know, PC just say spit on it. But yeah.
Well, you got to
just
lubricate it
those
good,
things,
but
so try to keep them cool and slippery while you're trying to pull it tight.
Yeah, but also try to make sure that those lines go 4 over instead of going, you know, doubling over on one, because that one knot is what cut it. But it's got to be good and wet. And I'm thinking my next ones I'm gonna pull in water. I'm not gonna spit on it. I'm gonna do it in water. I'm gonna try that and see what I can do. I'm gonna tell you, I don't want to land in the water again. That hurt. I'm too old to be bouncing like that.
When you land right on your
Right
pride.
on my
Yeah,
keister. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, dead on my keister. And that ground is cold and wet. It might be 88 degrees outside, but it had just rained and it was cold and wet. And I didn't enjoy it a bit. And my dog's sitting there looking at me like, hey, dummy, why'd you do that?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't have a good answer for that. So anyway, I pull tested it. I checked it, and looking at it with a magnifying glass, and this thing's not a microscope, but it's about as good. I mean, it looks about this big when you're looking into the knot, and you know how tiny the knots are. That's all I found was that one place where it went over where it wasn't supposed to. But keep them lubricated. Everybody says you can do it dry. Don't. Wet them. Be sure and wet them, even though it's this crazy material. Wet them and pull it slowly. Don't be just yanking it. Pull it slow so you don't build up a bunch of heat. I mean, why ask for trouble?
Yeah.
But anyway, I made up a second set, same set of lines. I thought maybe the lines were bad, but I made up a second set off the same spool, pulled it to 51 pounds. And the reason everybody says, why you just pulled it 51 pounds? I've got freshwater scales from Rapala. They only go to 50. They say 50 pounds, but they register 51. And after that, it goes up ridiculous. You can't trust it. But anyway, it said 51 pounds, and I just leaned into that and held it. And I set my watch and just hit my watch. And when it gets down to 0, 1 minute, it beeps. So there's, you let off. So the first line made it just fine, but the second one popped. So I looked at the other 3 knots, and the other 3 knots were all folded over right. But that one knot had that place where it wasn't right. I said, okay, we got to be a little bit more careful with this and lubricate it better, because we don't need to lose an airplane to prove we're doing something wrong. So
I think that's
anyway,
a great tip. I think that's a fantastic tip, Phil. Thank you very much. I haven't made any Lenny loops or the knot yet, so I appreciate you telling me that.
Yeah, one other little hint. I've been trying to make, and several people have told me I'm crazy for doing it. I've been trying to make my knots little bitty. Don't just make them big. It works out better. When you try to make them little, you're cramping those 4 lines. You're cramping it down, and that's it. I think that's why it broke. I think that's why I did that. I think that's what happened. I mean, it don't look bad. Even when they're 1 inch long, and my new ones are 1 inch long, I tried to hold them to 1 inch. What I had been doing was taking the knot, and once I got it through the loop, you take it around and under and over and down through and grab it. I was grabbing it with a hook, spring hook, and pulling it down, but I was running my knot forward trying to make it small. Leave it long. It don't make a hoot difference. It's still smaller than those big clips and all we were doing with the other. I mean, where it's wrapped in and all, mine are 3/4 to 1 inch long. It's still shorter than that.
Yeah, it's basically about it'll just kind of fit over to about the end of my index finger.
Yeah.
Just about that big.
Yeah, just do that. And then take and do a Lenny loop with those steel. The ones I ordered are kind of oblong. I couldn't find the round one Dennis has. Dennis gets the good stuff, But
I'll send you a link. All right.
All right. Appreciate it. I need it. Anyway, I need all the help I can get lately. But anyway, just take your time doing these things and wet them good, and then go out and pull them, because I pulled these 51 and I pulled it and dropped the line, so I couldn't tell which one was which. Now, had I been thinking, all I had to do was pick them up and see which one's 3 inches longer. That one's already been pulled. I pulled them both again, and then just so I hadn't pulled one too much or more than the other, I pulled the other one a second time too. So they've been pulled for 2 minutes. And these are going on my airplane. Probably, if not in the morning, it'll be Thursday morning. I'm gonna put them on there and go fly it.
And there's another thing there too, Phil, is that you pulled each line 50 pounds, which means that's a 100-pound pull test when you show up at the contest, which is at least twice as much pull test as you're actually going to need. So. Oh
yeah, I know, but
your lines are so. I don't think it's so much a question of the lines breaking as it is, as you say. Now, that 3-inch stretch, did that stretch and stay there?
Stay 3 inches. Stayed there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't done that with any of mine. I put the stretch load on it and I hold it, but I haven't been concerned. I
With how much it
naively
stretched.
assumed that both lines are going to stretch to about the same. I
They
actually,
did.
I put
They
my
did.
lines end for end. I pulled both of them at the same time because I'm
Oh, I
lazy.
didn't do that. I stretched both of them separately, each
Yeah.
of them separately.
Yeah.
But they're
I
on
figure
a,
if I pull them at the same time, they're going to see exactly the same loading, should respond exactly the same way.
yeah.
How's that for
Well-
naive? Oh, yeah,
Well,
nothing's the
I
same,
mean,
right?
it works. I'm glad mine broke because it taught me that you
Yeah,
can't just
that's-
haphazardly do this. Because
Yeah,
it made me, I've spent about 4 hours trying to figure out, okay, guys, what happened? I know what happened. Why did it happen? I'm an old tech. I want to know why it happened. So we make it better next time. But that's all it was. Just be sure and wet it. Take your time. Don't worry about little bitty. Just make a good knot. And this
Mhm.
stuff works. I mean, it really works. The second set I went out there and pulled, and they pulled right at 3 inches again. It was off the same spool, so it's going to be the same stretch.
Right.
But they both when I finished up and pulled them side by side, they ended up side by side, which is where they started out. So I'm kind of tickled. I'm very I'm impressed. I think it's going to work, and I wasn't sure before.
Mhm.
I really like his vacuum system. That really is impressive looking.
Yeah, let me just say hi to John Miller. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate that. And Brendan, it's been a while since I've seen you. Thank you for coming in.
What's
and
up?
and Mark Wise, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you guys. So what's going on with
Brendan,
you,
it's good to-
Brendan? What's going on with you?
I will say this, after I guess 4 years of Angstrom flying, he finally finished the full pattern last week.
All right.
Hey,
All right.
congratulations.
Hey.
It's been a long time coming. But yeah, we put it all together. I think he's known all the components now for several months, but we put it all together on a Pathfinder. I think we
Ching.
Yep.
Ching.
I think he was getting about 5-second laps on the Pathfinder, and we came out at just under 5 minutes on the full pattern. I don't know if that's kind of the norm for folks, but I had been setting it at 5.5 minutes, which I guess that if he wants to take an extra lap to like recompose himself or something before going into a stunt, that helps. But then also that consumes more battery in the end. So I guess we'll play with that stuff down the road. But I mean, the biggest thing is he's got the full pattern down. So
Yeah, I think you do a little bit of both. What he needs to do now is practice patterns and practice everything the same way, like count how many laps he does before he does his wing over, and then do the same number of laps in between and everything like that. And the advantage to taking that approach is he'll know when he's all done, if I did everything right, I got 6 laps, or some number like that till the pattern's open, which means also in the back of his mind, he has up to 6 extra laps, thinking laps that he can do during the pattern. And
Right.
not worry about being lost or anything like that. So if you can just get into the, it's a ritual at that point,
right.
and it'll pay, there's a little payoff for that. So
Yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot of hourglasses. We kind of went with, okay, well, just get your vertical 8s down, and then we'll eventually get them edgy. So
Mhm.
he really was kind of hitting that hard right before we did the full pattern. And I don't know, there were some hourglasses that I'm glad he was able to save them.
Mhm.
But we'll get there with that. But yeah, we got the full pattern down. So watch out, world.
All right.
Hey, Brandon,
Yeah.
congratulations to your son. And listen, next week we're publishing a brand new pattern, so don't worry about it.
Oh Lord.
Great.
Oh Lord.
Actually, I will say this.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
51 years, 51 years, 57, 58 years. I finally, 58 years of flying this stuff. I finally learned the pattern we got, where I'm not ashamed to go to a contest, and he's going to change it now. Oh,
No. I was just kidding.
I know.
We're not changing anything.
Hey,
Well,
I will
I don't
say
know.
this: the timing was perfect on changing the entry for the clover, because I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't have that yet before they changed it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it actually helped.
I like
us.
it a lot better the way it is now. I think it looks
I
better
really
judging
do.
it, and it's more fun to do.
I really
But,
do. I think that was just a clear improvement. So
Yeah. But don't worry about him
Fine and
having trouble
judging.
with hourglass. I stuffed more airplanes learning the hourglass than I did every other maneuver put together.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just tickled. Like, I mean, I just remember so many crashes early on, and some of it was just the planes we had and the designs we had on stuff. I kind of learned over time that we were handed, some ineffective stuff that wasn't worth anything. And so just going to the field and crash.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow we managed through all that, and to just be at a spot where, I mean, I should knock on wood here, but the Pathfinder that we have, like, I don't know, we've probably put that thing up, for at least 60, 70 flights now, and it's still in one piece. So,
Yeah.
just at a point where he it doesn't mean he doesn't goof at times or get,
Oh, yeah, we all do that.
or something, but he seems to be in control of the thing, at all times. So it's just, I'm so glad to be beyond all the, like, well, what do we do with this pile of balsa and trying to put it back together and make something?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I was there for a long time, especially with the hourglass maneuver. And my coach, Tom Looper, and he had more talks with me that I can't repeat, if you know what I'm saying. Asking me why I did something so stupid. And finally, Dennis's father asked me at a contest. He said, "When you do this maneuver, why do you do this?" And Tommy came over, and the two of them talked. And Tommy came over to me and we had a little discussion there. And Tom knows when to not be quite so subtle with me. He's the only one that I've ever flown with that can get through to me sometimes. And he said, "Why do you do this?" And it made sense. And I moved my feet different and did something different. I discovered a lot of it is just finding your balance. As basic and as silly as that sounds, find your balance and get comfortable. And Tom Dixon wrote an article one time and said, wear shoes that, he said he can tell somebody's a serious flyer from the shoes he wears. Because if he goes out there with soft bottom, squishy shoes, he knows darn well he's not a serious flyer. Well, I always thought that was just, I think the world of Tom Dixon. And I listen to when he tells me something, I listen because he's been there and he really knows. But I thought, shoes, come on, Tom. So I went flying week before last in a pair of shoes they're very, very comfortable. They're very comfortable. They're Skechers and they're very comfortable. But when I was trying to do my maneuvers, Tommy said, "Are you all right out there? You look like you're dizzy or drunk or something." I said, "No, I know what's going on." So the next time I went out there, I kicked my shoes off in the center of the circle. And I'm just standing on concrete, and it was much better. So the last time I went, I wore the shoes that I normally wear. They're tennis shoes. They're not golf shoes, which is what Tom suggests. But I can't find golf shoes. I'm not going to pay $230 for a pair of golf shoes to go flying. I just can't afford that. But anyway, I went out with a pair of hard bottom shoes on, and the flying was so much easier, and you feel so much steadier. What I'm saying all this to get at, it's the little things that will bite you. Once you get the little things down, the way you stand, the way you move, the way you whatever, and the shoes you wear matter because of the whatever. It's the little things that will all add up. And once you get it, you got it.
So did I hear you right that you were standing there between Tom Looper and my dad?
Well,
at the same time?
actually, your dad talked to Tom, and Tom talked to me because your dad tried to talk to me, and I didn't quite catch on exactly what he was trying to say. Tom knows how to talk to me, and he knows when to say, "Look, knucklehead." So
yeah, well, I could imagine one of them holding you down, and the other one.
Your dad was much too nice.
Yeah,
to do something like that. To me, now not to you maybe, but to me.
Well, that's it.
But he got through. He told Tommy what was going on, and Tommy got through to me. Came over and talked to me. He says, "This is what Art said, and I think he's right. I just watched you that last flight. I think he's right." He said, "I've wondered what you're doing for the longest time. Here's what you're doing, and here's what you're doing wrong."
Mm-hmm.
And things have been going much better ever since because I've started watching how I stand and how I, do it the same way every time.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple other little things. I kept doing the hourglass, and I was trying to do it from, over there to over there. Well, it's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be shoulder to shoulder.
Mhm.
Just look at your shoulders, think of your shoulders and look up. That's where the points are supposed to be. Well,
Mhm.
it works. And the other thing was I kept coming down at an angle like I was doing a triangle. Well, a triangle's angle, that angle, 45 degrees, works great from 45 degrees. But from 90 degrees, now it's twice as big. So
Mhm.
that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, they had to get that through to me, and they finally did. Your daddy could see what was going on, but I didn't quite understand. He tried to be too nice, and I couldn't understand it. So Tommy come over and, like I say, Tommy knows how to talk to me, get
Mhm.
through to me. Look, dumb. So
Yeah.
anyway, they got through to me, and it's worked much better since. But
Hey,
Tom's a
very,
heck of a coach.
very, very good tips, Phil. I think the shoes, we probably do take them for granted. I know that I fly on grass and I compete on asphalt. And so
Well, yeah.
I probably do need to look at shoe preparation because I'm
You go out there and-
practicing with,
Yeah.
I don't use running shoes, but like a training shoe right now. Because I
Something
need
stiff.
to be able to have stability on the grass. And my surface is an uneven grass too. So,
Yeah.
but I like to have like a court shoe, like a basketball or maybe tennis shoes on asphalt where you're
Well,
flat.
I do too, but it needs to be something. You need to have like a tennis shoe, not a running shoe. Nothing spongy.
Right. Nothing spongy.
Nothing
yes.
spongy. If you
And-
feel like you feel it giving, forget it. That's not a flying shoe.
And
Because you
usually-
get overhead and you're going to be out of balance. And then if the wind's blowing and your plane's blowing you around at all, now you're really contorting trying to keep up with it. And there's no way you're going to be consistent when you're not doing the same thing every time.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to catch on to what they were telling me. But like I say, if you just listen to all these guys and really listen and put it together and try to just they're not telling you because they're trying to hurt you. I mean, I have never had anybody tell me anything, at least none of the top guys, the guys that I thought knew what's going on, tell me anything that was going to hurt my flying.
Right.
But they will tell you things that you think that don't make sense. Well, think about it because it does make sense, or they wouldn't have taken the time to tell you.
You guys, go ahead, John. And then after you, John, I have to read something from John Chukalak on our chat. Go ahead, John.
Okay, I just want to second what Phil's talking about, but I also want to take a moment and welcome Pete back. It's good to see you, Pete. We missed you.
Good to see Pete.
We lost somebody. I wonder who checked out. Or maybe it's caffeine.
Caffeine said he had to go do something and he was
He had to
gonna
go
be
to
back.
work. Yeah, be back.
Yeah.
So anyways, John Shukalak says, when you change engines in a profile and have to drill new holes, do you plug the original holes in the engine bearers? Now that's what I do. I plug them with the hardest dowel, small 1/8-inch dowel I can find, and then I cut it flush, and then I re-drill the new holes. Anybody else do anything similar
Me
or
too.
different?
Same thing.
Yep.
That's the
absolutely.
plan.
You don't want oil getting in there. You just want that hole plugged up. You don't want any oil or fuel eventually getting in there.
Yeah. Same here. Oh my goodness.
And welcome
Canada
back,
has arrived.
Bob Whitley. Thank you for coming back. Appreciate it.
Yep, my pleasure.
Did you hear the question? You're a woodworker. Did you hear the question from John Chukalak?
No, I just
regarding-
tuned literally a second ago. So
So he asked when you have a profile and you need to change engines and drill new holes, do you plug those prior holes or not? And I said yes. I plug them with the hardest wooden dowel I can find. I might have to drill the hole out a little bit and enlarge it to get a nice firm dowel in there, but I want to.
I don't recommend a dowel because that leaves end grain, which is very poor to drill into and fasten to. What I do is I use wood cutting plugs, and I cut a plug out of an appropriate size. They're sort of a tapered plug, and I'll cut that out of the same material using face grain, and drill the appropriate size hole for it, and epoxy that in, and then smooth off the top, and that gives far superior strength to the end grain of a dowel. And they're cheap. Plug cutters are cheap to buy. Any of the woodworking stores should have them. If you want, I can dig one out and show you what they are.
Yeah, show me. I'm kind of.
I'm sure I've never encountered that, but that I agree that if you could avoid the end grain, that's got to be a good idea.
Yeah,
That'll be a better mouth.
I asked him because he's a professional woodworker.
Yeah.
So I knew he would have something unique to say.
Yeah.
And
Well, the other thing, if you're going to do well, let me let him do this. Show this, then I'll tell
I'll
you.
make you big, Bob.
Sure. That's a plug cutter. And you put it in your drill press, I recommend, rather than hand drill.
Okay.
And just bore it down. It doesn't matter how far you go. As it bores, it tapers the top edge a bit as it comes up. There's a bit of a taper, and that'll allow you to drive it into a close to diameter hole, and it'll wedge in. And if there's a little bit of gap at the bottom or something, the epoxy filling that will take care of it. And
Okay.
I've used
get that down to a 1/8 hole.
I don't know if they have them in 1/8 inch. Let me see here. Let me just measure that. No, this is actually a 3/16 hole, basically.
Okay. So you have to drill it out just a little bit and then hammer it in, hammer in the
Now,
plug.
now bear in mind, you're talking about motor mount holes, I presume.
Yes.
They're going to be relatively close to the edge of the bearer because they're never halfway on. If the plug overlaps the inside edge some, so what? Just sand it off, chisel it off, whatever. And what I've used then, rather than blind nuts or anything, which can be problematic, if you're drilling into, be real careful with your drill bit if there's a blind nut hiding there. I've sort of shifted to just using threaded inserts more than blind nuts for motor mounts and whatnot, and well, all kinds of things. So I just find it's working a little bit better, and you never ever have to worry about a blind nut pulling loose behind, which we've all experienced, I'm sure.
Yeah, and them stripping out. So, Bob Whitley, I'm a little bit confused. That plug cutter, the end result is a plug that you get when you drive that plug cutter into a piece of wood.
Yeah. I don't really have a rough one here.
Looks like a round toothpick, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
Smaller on one, it's smaller on one end, larger on the other, and it just
it looks exactly like a cork.
Yeah.
Okay, cork, like a taper, like a round taper.
Yeah, there's not much of a taper, but there's some, and that allows it to wedge in. And I found it to be quite effective the few times I've had to use it.
I'll have to see if they get down to an 1/8 inch or around an 1/8 inch.
If you're ever gonna build an airplane like profile or something, and you're gonna try you want to try several different motors on it. Can't think of his name right now, but the guy that designed Mo Best has a
Larry Cunningham.
Larry Cunningham designed a motor mount he called the New Mexico motor mount, and what it is, it's two pieces of aluminum, and you put screws through the backside that go through the motor, and then your blind nuts go on the front. I mean, your aircraft nuts go on the front. If you want to change the motor mount, all you got to do is pull that whole thing, because it attaches outside of your motor. Pull that whole thing off and put another one on for the new size motor. You never need a different hole in the plane. It's just the motor mounts got new holes.
And that's how I have it on my smoothie. I use a clamp style. And with the Peg 35, they've got that little rib part halfway along the motor mount. And so that works out really good for positive positioning, because I just file a little V-slot in the clamps. I can dig out an RC motor mount that has that clamp system if we want to show it.
Well, this is the thing about the Mobest is that it wasn't a clamp with metal on both sides. It was just bolted to it. It was like an extension of the regular motor mount.
Yeah,
it wasn't a clamp at all. You're right.
You could make it like maybe a 2-inch or 3-inch, spacing on that held the beams. And like Phil said, you put the motor, whatever motor you want, you could slide it in or out, fore and aft, mark it, drill it, and then mount it from behind. So,
yeah,
I've got to meet him one time, but he was a smart cat.
Yeah, I've used both the Mexican plate or that Larry
the New Mexico motor mount.
I also did the one that Wendy Ranowski had, which was the clamp style. I did them both. They both worked really well.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's exactly it on an RC, on a aluminum mount. This particular one has ribbing on the on the fixed, but this is just a commercial one, but you know, the same idea over wooden bearers is what I have in my smoothie.
Okay.
That's not like the one on, I've seen that before, but that's not what I'm talking about. This one, a lot of us, when we build our planes, you got the airplane and you put an 1/8" pad against the airplane, and you put a screw out here and screw out here just to hold that pad on. Then you drill 2 holes in that. That's where your motor fits. That's where your motor goes through. Okay. Well, what about if you took that aluminum plate off and put sheet metal screws from the back side? You know, sheet metal screws are tapered on the end, so it's not going to pull through. You're going to put a tapered hole in the back of this metal.
I think you meant flathead machine screw.
Flathead machine screw. There you go. I can't think of the name of this stuff. Anyway, you put the flathead machine screw through it, and I've left it where I could thread it in. Then you put your motor on that. You drill those where the motor fits on that. You put your aircraft nuts on that. That stays put there. You got it out here in your hand looking at it. Put it on your airplane, and then bolt the aluminum to the airplane. Well, you can put a 46, a 40, a 35, a 51, whatever you want to put on that airplane on that same mount. It doesn't matter as long as you make that initial aluminum plate, top and bottom, big enough that the 51 will fit in it.
Yeah, well, basically,
you motor you want in it. Well, of course, the holes, the opening in the fuselage has got to be big enough for a 51 case. I mean, that's oversimplification.
Yeah, it's more of an extension to the mount on the engine, and extends it far enough out that no matter what engine, it'll fit past the existing mount on any existing engine.
Yeah, I will try to find mine and have one here next time.
That'd be great. I know that John Shukalak might appreciate that. I have
I'll try to have it next week, next Friday.
Another person on here who hasn't been in a while, Jonathan Cardotas. I think I'm saying his name correctly. He's from New Zealand. He says, "Hi, Charles. Hi, guys from New Zealand." Well, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for coming in. I haven't seen you in a while. Appreciate you. And we're all caught up there. We have right now we have 18 concurrent viewers. We have 21 likes. So thank you very much. We don't have any chat revenue. Please consider supporting us with the super chats, which is below the chat box on the right side. And then there's also the Stunthangar YouTube channel memberships, which hit the join button, and then that's just a subscription, and that helps support the channel.
Yeah, I just double checked in that plug cutter that I'd randomly grabbed. This particular set was metric, so that's 6mm. Okay, so you can probably get it. Yeah, that's a little over, a little under 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Basically,
whenever I did use the dowel, even though it was end grain, I would just soak it with thin CA to seal it up.
Yeah.
I used bamboo a few times, and you talk about if you hit that with a drill bit, that stuff is hard.
Yeah. And usually I didn't have to drill back through the dowel. Usually the motor position had moved. I didn't have to go through it.
Doesn't. Yeah.
And that's if you're having to reposition the hole for that, you definitely, if you have the option, use some sort of a drill guide so that your bit doesn't, because it'll grab the edge of it or the grain use an end grain.
Whatever which way. What do you have hanging up back there?
Who are you talking to, Phil?
Bob. What are those 2 fuselages you have hanging up over your right shoulder?
Oh, those are actually, I got 4 of them there. Those are those free flight models I showed a while back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can only see 2 of them and couldn't figure out what in the heck is he building. Because that one looks like
I put him there to get him out of the way of my den for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Same with that cord there. I might take.
Yeah, my wife was ready for me to get my stuff out of the dining room and then get the fly head. I was building a new fly rod, and she wanted me to get that thing out of the dining room. I got to looking, and darn, I had taken up the whole dining room. So I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'll get this out of here now." So
well,
anyway.
that photographs, the airplane pictures, the dining room's off limits for me hanging models, but in the living room, I've got my big Spitfire hanging up from the ceiling inverted, and on the wall, I've got my Sterling Spitfire, and one of these days I'll put my Great Lakes up there, and we got airplane prints and full-size props all over the place. So fortunately, my wife grew up in a flying family, and so when I met her, she was already flying, riding motorcycles, and had a bunch of firearms. So everything was good.
Now,
I threw her on the back of my Harley and brought her south, and still got her, still got the Harley, still have the rifles.
wow.
There you go.
You are one lucky man.
But our first cat died of old age at 19.
Oh,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, that was back. Bear in mind, we've been married 42 years. So that was a while ago.
I got you
very
beat lightweight.
Very good. Well,
47.
congratulations. 42 years. That's awesome.
That's a good deal. Good deal.
I think Lynn Burrell is making his way in here. I see Lynn.
Yeah, I got to tell Lynn something.
Hey, Lynn.
Good day, gentlemen. How are
Good day to
you?
you. Doing well.
Hey,
Look
Lynn.
who's here, Lynn. You see anybody you haven't seen in a while?
I see. I haven't seen anybody for a while.
You were
How
busy
good,
sleeping
guys?
off the gnats.
No, actually, I was down in the basement working on an SV11.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
How's it
SV11.
coming?
Well, here's the deal. Steve Hines gave me one of Samantha's old airplanes, which was an SV11, and I've been doing a rebuild on it. So it's coming along quite nicely. So I've been working on a which?
Basically, it kind of works out to being an ARF. It was already built for you.
Yeah, it was an ARF. It was an ARF. So it's a cleaned up ARF now.
All right.
He gave me the airplane and the motor needed a rebuild as well. So I had to make a call out to Dub Jet and order a bunch of parts, and I rebuilt the motor as well as the airplane.
Wow.
Oh, so it's a nice motor.
Gave you
Roadjet 76.
You bugger. I'd love to get one of them for my Sea Fury. I'm just too cheap to buy one right now.
So, Lynn, we have Peter in here. Just remove the mystery.
Hey, Peter.
Devine?
Haven't seen him for a while, so.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's good to see Pete back.
Yeah. As I said to everybody before, if in the after party, I'll get into what's been going on. But
All right.
I figured I'd show my face and at least let everybody know I was still alive.
Yes.
Peter, it's great to see you, buddy.
Yes, it's wonderful to see you as well.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're feeling a lot better.
So, Len, sounds like you guys had a pretty good meet up in the bean field there.
We did. We had 7 entries in profile and 8 in big stunt, so it worked out pretty good. Mind you, I didn't fly. I ended up judging all weekend, so I was pretty tired by the end of it.
I'll bet.
But it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Chris Cox had to cancel his contest in Vancouver on Richmond last weekend. I think a lack of entries or availability of people.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, he's coming up here at the end of the month for ours, but I don't know if anyone else besides him and maybe Howard are coming up from the Northwest.
Okay.
Has anybody heard how the guys are doing at the Worlds? I heard about
I don't think the Worlds have actually started
yet.
Today,
didn't they?
No, I think they start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did.
I heard Orestes came in first in the World Cup.
Cool deal. Very neat.
Yep.
I heard
the team did well.
I heard that the practice the other day. Anyway, I heard the results of the practice. They were warming up the judges, is what it was. And one of the guys thought that was the contest. I said, no. That means what it says. They warmed up the judges. The contest starts next week. I had been told Monday, but if it starts Tuesday, that's cool. But I'm waiting to hear. Trayan said he would send he said he was going to try to send me some text to let me know how it was going. I haven't heard anything. He called me right before he left. He was on the way to the airport, and he's nervous, but I hope he does well. I think he'll be fine. I don't blame him being nervous. I'd be nervous going to Poland too.
Australian placed 20th in the World
20th?
Cup. Yeah, he was 20.
That's
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No,
That's
That
good.
is good.
I
Did
think
you guys see? Did you guys see the picture of the team?
Yeah, I'm gonna
With
post it.
all-
I got it up here. Let me see if I can show
I haven't
everybody.
seen it yet.
Um,
Let me get my camera ready. Because I do not know how to do it on the computer yet.
did you see the picture of the Jivettes?
hang
The
on,
what?
Yeah.
let me
What's a
share this
Javette?
here.
The Jivettes, yeah, the old.
Well, there's the
Jive
Jive Combat
teams.
team, and then the cheerleaders were the Jivettes.
You guys see it?
Yeah,
Oh my
that was
gosh.
funny.
You guys see it?
Oh my gosh.
Is that a yes?
Yeah, I like that new Thunder Gazer. That's pretty.
Let me make it a little bit bigger. I can enlarge it a little bit. Let me.
Who is that with a Thunder Gazer? Is that Joe Daly?
Steve Daly, is
Steve Daly. Okay.
our junior team member.
Now
Wow.
they're all electrics, by the way.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. They sure
Yeah.
are. How about that?
Hey, Charles, have you seen the photo of the four guys and the ladies dressed in red?
Oh, not a whole
No,
lot.
I didn't see that. No.
Oh,
It's
that's-
hilarious.
Yeah, it's about
Yes, it is.
3/4 of the way down on page 2.
Me, I haven't taken my evening meds, but I did take my afternoon meds, so you know.
Let
I'm
me,
cool.
Oh, that's a
there
cool
we go.
guy.
Sneak
There's a
that
cool
one in
guy.
there.
Yeah, he is.
That's pretty cool.
I muted you, John. So you're muted. Yeah, I just pulled down that one picture earlier today. So I didn't see the other one you're talking about, Mark. But if anybody else has
Yeah.
it, if they know how to share it, go ahead and share it.
Okay, I'll start looking for it here. Stand by.
It's a great picture.
Yeah, I don't know how to dig in and find them and share them, but that's on our Facebook site too for the Alberta Control Line group.
Yeah.
I'll take you out in a few minutes, Hound.
Okay, Charles, I think I'm ready here for share
All right,
screen.
go ahead.
That come up?
There it is.
There it
Oh, my.
is.
Oh my gosh.
Look at young Steven
Oh,
and
he's happy.
I'm not sure the Cougar isn't happy too, but what the heck? And look at Orestes. I've never seen him looking so seriously at anything that wasn't a stunt plane.
Hey,
So-
now he
I
has
know.
4 ladies that's surrounding him. What's up with
Yes.
that? I mean, these 4 ladies went to him and left Joe
Well.
Daly with and who's that Sharon? That's all Howard. Howard and Joe Daly, and they only have 1 lady, and Howard's in the middle of those 3 people. Wow.
And on the
I
plus
think-
side, none of them are saber tooths.
Mm.
Yeah. I think Joe Dale is the smartest one, having the only guy not next to a woman.
Yep.
So
He's
his
just
marriage
looking
is
at, he's
intact.
just looking across saying, "That's my boy."
Yeah. Yeah. He's looking at the landing gear.
Yeah, I think so.
Very
Oh, I
nice.
just noticed. Had anybody else noticed there's actually a red car behind them?
I did
Yeah, I
notice.
did
I
too.
was
I'm
checking
trying to
out
figure
the
out what
car.
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to
yeah.
do this for the Control Line Control Line National Championships. We need to have this kind of scene, and we'll get more participants too.
Well,
I
and
mean that.
Howard really put it in perspective. He said that, this is the cheerleaders for the American team, and they were, only the red ones were there. They couldn't wait for the white and blue cheerleaders because they had to practice their stunt. So, and then somebody else pointed out that, the Jive Combat team always had, their groupies were the Jivettes. And so this must be the European Jivettes for
Yeah.
Howard. So,
And Howard smart. He's holding his 2 hands together.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Cannot
And let's not go any farther with
He
that.
can't be accused of anything. He's holding
Yeah.
his 2 hands. Yeah,
With a
smart
grin
man.
like that, are you kidding?
Is
Who-
say,
who-
oh, Steve. I wonder if anybody's going to see Steve the rest of the trip. So,
No, probably not.
yeah, that's it.
Very nice.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I suppose that's
Oh,
enough
Lordy.
of that.
I thought they were practicing.
Now, who was it that was telling me that they were only in this for the money and the women?
The combat flyers say that.
Hmm.
Oh my. Oh my. Jack, will you please get down?
And I think we have to talk to Brad about getting a few women like that around in our competitions here.
Oh my God.
Problem is nobody was paying attention to the airplanes.
Well, we got one. Naomi comes out.
There we go. There we go.
Oof.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Mm.
Okay,
Oh, man.
one more share, put it more on
Okay.
subject. And I can't get this thing rotated and I can't get it any bigger than that. Is that Orestes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
leading the team.
Cool.
I can't think, I'm just an old junkie from the Olympics and everything like that. I can't think of a better thing than walking into an international stadium under my country's flag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
What a terrific honor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Constantine from Canada. Oops, there
He's
he is.
there.
I was just trying to find his results there. I couldn't find them. I think he did fairly well considering he was there all alone.
Yeah, I think he
would-
was there fourth or fifth in the World Cup.
He was seventh.
Seventh, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
he finished seventh. He was fifth after the first round and ended up seventh.
Yeah, he had one did not finish or something like that, I think, on a flight.
Yeah,
And I guess Steve was the bronze medalist in the junior division for the world champs.
Yeah, as it
Yeah,
says.
pretty
Yeah.
neat.
I think that's cool. He's carrying a diploma. So, Mark, can we work on the GED for our junior and senior flyers? So,
I think we
Oh,
should
my
start
word.
with our senior flyers first.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, funny.
No, I was just kidding.
That's pretty slick. That is really
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
it is.
slick.
All I can say
Very
is,
nice.
I like that.
what, these guys have been waiting for what, 3 years and stuff? And
Yeah,
this
well,
is
that's
crazy.
true
Just
too.
happy for them. Just happy as heck that they got a chance to
Yeah.
do this kind of thing. So.
It's a long
And
time to wait.
sure is.
Yeah.
It sure is. Okay, I
It's
guess
just
that's
really
all of
neat
it
that the
then.
Well,
international
thank you very
committee
much.
allowed them to, because one of them's really not legal anymore, but he was when he was picked. So this is neat. That was neat.
Yeah, that's the problem. They waited so long. I'm sure junior team members, technically aged out. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Hey, John Miller, you need to unmute your mic. I muted your phone conversation. There you go.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
You're welcome, buddy.
So.
Well,
Pregnant.
Dennis, I was hoping to get down to that contest next weekend and I'm still trying, but I'm not having much luck. I'm trying to get out of work for Sunday and it's
Oh, boy.
not happening. I'm
I thought
fighting
you'd
with it for
retired, were you?
Saturday. Huh?
I thought you
No,
were
I'm
retired.
still working at the grocery store and I can't get out of it. It's just,
Yeah.
that's the
I
trouble.
got-
When you work part-time, you're on the weekends, they really want you there and it's
Yeah.
tough.
Well, Sunday is my wife's birthday. All right. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
going to make the trip to Detroit kind of problematic. So
Yeah, we're all in trouble here.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So.
You're not taking
Dennis
Deborah? She doesn't want to go for her birthday to Chicago?
No, Detroit.
Detroit?
I mean, Detroit, I
Yeah,
mean.
okay. No.
Right.
No.
Well, I've gone to a contest on my wife's birthday. That is a problem. That can be a problem.
Brodax always happens during our anniversary. So.
Ooh. You're
I
a
got a-
brave man.
I got a friend here who has the same problem, Dennis. John McFadden has the same problem.
Mhm.
Brodax usually happens on his anniversary. It's
Well,
a
that's
problem.
it. It's June
That's-
12th and, Father's Day is always going to be within a week of June 12th.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's tough.
And so,
That's a hard
Well,
one.
one year, many years ago, it was Kim's birthday, which is also our anniversary. And there was military change of command parade for 408 TAC Hell Squadron here, which we were rather tied in with. And so I took her there for her birthday and told her, you know, there's very many women get a march past with all these handsome young guys saluting them and fly past them a bunch of choppers for their birthday. So
True.
Turned that one around, didn't you?
Oh, hey, every now and then, you know, down in Indianapolis, they're so excited by my birthday. They, you know, on my birthday, they run this big car race down there and everything else. 500,000 people there, all there, you know, celebrating my birthday and everything.
Wow.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
Fantastic. Yes.
That's it. And I'm not even a native Hoosier, so what the heck? So
Yeah. Hey, if you guys give me just a minute, my daughter told me a cute little story. So I think it might put a smile on your face.
all right.
There's this lady and she's in town a couple of blocks from her office. She's walking to work in the morning. And before she gets in her building, she hears in the background a lot of people yelling, 13, 13, 13, 13. And it's driving her crazy. So she doesn't go into her office. She keeps walking toward all this yelling. And she finally realizes it's behind a fence that is attached to a home for those who are a little emotionally challenged. And she's still curious because they're still yelling 13. So she finds a peephole and she puts her eye in there to see what's going on. And when she does, someone pokes her eye and they start yelling 14, 14.
That's bad.
So there you go.
Oh,
that's my contribution.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
What?
I had no idea where that was going. Very good.
No, kept it good.
I laugh because my mother used to work with those type of people.
Right.
And she used to tell me a story where there would be a guy that would hang around in the stall for the washroom, and somebody walk and he just plow him. Just it's some of the things that happen in a place like that is just crazy.
Oh, I bet. Absolutely.
How's that repair coming, Stuart?
Look at that. All done except the engine mounting.
You are a man. You the man. That was partially my fault.
Are you flying Wednesday?
I'm hoping to.
Good.
You mean I get another chance to break it?
No, I do.
I was helping him with outside loops and we both got mixed up and it went straight in. It wasn't good.
That's good. Look at that.
It looks good
That
now.
looks good. So was you holding the handle with him, Lynn?
I was. He wanted to go one way and I wanted to go the other. And you know what happened, don't you? It kept going straight.
Wow.
It was a bad scene.
Were there special words?
Not really.
Well, I'll tell you what,
It happens. I mean, you know, it's just the game. I mean, it happens. Stuff happens bad when you're learning.
Oh yeah, miscommunication.
Just be glad it was over grass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not that it's not like it was a $2,000 airplane or anything. It's just a misfortune, and you take it home, and either he was going to have to glue it together, or I was. He decided to glue it together this time.
Yeah. Speaking of communication, sometimes when you're at the center of the circle with your handle and you have someone launching your plane, they might have the plane cocked in, and you want to signal to them to pitch it out. You got to figure out how to do this without letting them think that you want them to launch the plane. And even with the is that for me, Dennis?
Yeah. You're launching my airplane.
Okay. Oh, interesting. All right, that's a good way. Yeah.
What did I just say?
Said nose out.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
How about oh, very good. I like that.
Yeah, it's what Wes and I worked out, and I actually Keith Trossel was the first one that showed me that when I was launching his scale model, and 1970, I think it was. And, he was very critical about it, not being crabbed on the ground or anything like that.
Sure.
And that's what he did. He touched his nose and out or in. Okay.
Right. I like that.
That's a brainstorm. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but you don't want to use anything with your flying hand. You don't want to do anything.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You do something like that. That's, that's not waving the airplane off. Nose out. And then finally,
Terrific. Yeah, that's.
You fly with kind of a regular crew. I mean, you guys could get that down to an art in about 1/2 of a flying session, I think. You and Joe and you got a third guy with you all the time, don't you?
Yeah, Carl Reed.
Yeah.
And Carl Reed has been flying pretty much regularly been flying a combat plane. So we worked out some communication on that because I was, I kind of had the plane kind of flat and he wanted it pitched up. And so, we was, There we go. I like that. Yeah, that's very good. Carl, if you're watching. Yeah, because communication is very critical on a launch.
Yeah, it can be great or it can go bad real fast.
Oh
Of
yeah.
course, Wes did that to me once. I reached down and zipped up, but so sometimes, even there, you keep working on the translation, working on communication.
Very good.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Looks like Stuart's got a bit of a story maybe for an airplane on the wall back there. I think I saw about just the back end of a fuselage.
Who is that again, Bob?
Stuart.
Where'd Stuart go? I think he left his shop.
I don't know. That looks like
there he is.
Hey.
Blue tail end of a fuselage up there. I wonder what the story is on that.
Stuart, Bob has a question for you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it looks kind of interesting. Like you got a bit of a story on that yellow and greenish fuselage back on the wall behind you.
Oh, we don't want to talk about that one.
We're not going to talk about that one.
That was one day I went flying and took off, and this is RC, right? And all of a sudden it started to go over, and I corrected. It didn't correct. It just kept going, boom. And I got to the plane, and I forgot to put one of the screws in the servo for the horn.
Oh no!
Boom.
Oh, that hurts.
And I found the screw 2 weeks later on the floor. So I think I just put it back in.
So you're well versed on doing repairs for major damage then.
Oh yeah, I got another back there in the other room too.
Oh, how's the J3 coming?
Oh, it's getting there. I think I've got my muffler problem solved. So
good deal.
I got to get back to that soon too, because I want to get it done and fly it before winter.
Looks like a nice shop setup you've got there.
Yeah, it's small. Actually, there's a hot tub in here, which my daughter's going to take in September. So I don't have twice as much room. I'm cramped right now, but I like it. It's okay. But
how many people have a hot tub in their shop? I mean, how cool is that?
I'm jealous.
Yeah,
that is. What a great idea.
Well, it's going. So
hot tub with the beer fridge right beside it and reach.
Yeah,
I mean that.
You won't get much modeling done though.
Well, nobody's taking it, so
now I know why he can't get his twister finished. I got it figured out now.
Oh.
It doesn't matter how big your shop is; it's going to fill itself up.
Exactly.
Oh, God,
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Amen.
Yeah.
already
It's
got
pretty
about
impressive how Sparky, with his small shop he has, he's makes some beautiful planes. I know he goes
Small shop. He's building a closet, that boy.
Yes.
I don't know how he does
small
it.
shop. Well, that inspired me. I dusted off my bench and said, hey, Sparky's building in a much smaller, more cramped space than I am. So I got serious for a little while. Then I got distracted.
Bear in mind, though, on Saturdays, he moves to a bigger shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
John Jordan's house.
So it
which
does
is
have the
nice.
tools to use and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Jordan's shop looks really, really nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we all got to start somewhere. I
That's
started
it.
literally in a closet. You know, my first shop was a closet.
What I had for a workbench as a kid was I just took a door. I got a seconds door for next to nothing from the lumber yard, and I hinged it to the wall, and I'd fold it down when I was done, so it was out of the way.
Yeah.
And that was my first. I put a piece of ceiling tile sort of stuff on it, and that was my building board for all my years as a teenager.
Yeah.
Well, I had an old door like that, but I didn't have anything so elaborate. I just threw it up on my bed. And my mother come up one night and I was asleep in the floor. She woke me up and wanted to know, why are you in the floor? I said, well, the wing's not dry. I didn't want to move it yet.
I love it.
Dedicated modeler.
Yeah, crazy modeler. I think I was about 14 years old. I was building my first ringmaster. Lord,
Yeah, I remember doing that kind of stuff too. Good for you.
yeah.
And I have no idea how many brain cells I killed off because I'm not that smart anymore. Back when I was a kid and doing all that doping indoors.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I'll tell you what, I bet I let my brother talk me into one the rest of you weren't dumb enough to do. We cranked an OS 35S on a ringmaster in my bedroom.
Nice.
Yeah.
In my bedroom. It was raining.
Along with the line.
I had just put the motor together out of pieces to build a motor. You know, we didn't have any money, so a buddy of mine had crashed his, and I got the parts, some pieces of his, and I got the parts I had left of mine, and I did manage to scrape up the money to buy a new case. And I put the pieces together, ones that fit the best, and put it on there. And we waited 2 weeks, and everybody's telling me, did it run? Did it run? I don't know. It's too darn cold to go outside and crank it. I can't stand getting my fingers hit when they're freezing cold. So Jack Guthrie come over to the house, and one of us had the brain, anyway, the problem of deciding, well, let's crank it in the room. Let's just see if it'll just start. Well, I don't know how much fuel Jack put in that thing, but I finally put it straight up and down so it would quit. And my mother is downstairs, and she was not happy.
No, I
had to go through that house, that whole room with everything had to be washed, disinfected, and otherwise cleaned. I mean, it was not a good deal. It was not one of my more brilliant ideas.
Too bad you didn't have electric.
Yeah, really. Really. That OS 30, we didn't have a muffler on it either.
Of course not.
And back then I flew Fox fuel. So you can imagine how everything in there.
Wow. Yeah.
Everything in there was oily as crap. I mean, it was awful.
Everybody got their.
I couldn't see Jack. He's behind the airplane holding it, and the smoke building up behind
Everybody in the house got their dose of castor oil that day.
Castor oil. That's it.
They did.
That's it.
So did your mom ask you what were you thinking? Starting the engine in the room?
No, she had. She turned that over to my father, and his belt did the talking. I didn't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
See, in those days, my dad worked third shift, and this was first shift. Enough said. Dad's bedroom was not directly below mine, but it was close enough. Boy, what in the world?
Was you thinking?
Lord,
Yeah.
Lord of mercy. Jack and I, neither one heard the end of that for a long time.
I'll bet.
Golly molly, we did some stupid things, but that one, the only one to come close to that, my younger brother one time decided he wanted to check out. We flew model rockets in those days too. My little brother was really into model rockets. I'd build them, but he loved to fly them and compete with them. He decided to put a JetX motor in a pair of pliers, light the fuse, and sit there and hold it. It was a C67. It spun him around about 4 times. And when it looked like he was going to hit the ground, and then the other motor that blows the parachute out went back and blew him back the other way. He never let go of that motor. I give him credit. He never let go of that motor.
Very good.
But he went down hard, buddy. He hit the ground, kaboom. And then we're trying to figure out how to put out the curtains and never mind.
Oh my God.
It was a bad deal. My dad just looked at us and said, you boys are going to be the death of me. Oh, it was. We learned the hard way, but we learned.
Let me welcome Keith Trossel in. Thank you, Keith, for coming in.
Hey, Keith.
What did I miss?
All
we're
kinds
gonna
of
You
talk
stuff.
about
missed
some
the
Insanity.
Charles was,
Confessions.
yeah, was
Confessions,
talking
that's
about
right.
how does the pilot communicate with the pitman to reorient the airplane for launch?
I had that problem just a week or so ago.
Oh, Lord.
The guy who was holding it, a famous race plane pilot, and the nose was pointed in slightly. And I think there's should be a standard way. What I use is point my nose and then point out. That should mean point the nose out, but he didn't understand. So I changed my position from the center of the circle to way over, so we'd take off, and I almost ran off the runway. But anyway, we got it off the ground okay.
It was so funny. I was doing that, Charles asked a question, and I did that, and then I referred way back to, what was it, 1970 or so? With the MB5 in Chicago, and that's exactly, I mean, I can remember it clear as day.
Yeah.
And it really works. I mean, it's easy to understand. So
Some people are sharp enough to get it, and some aren't.
yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what. I remember the MB5. That was an incredible airplane.
I've got a picture of that flight.
Really?
Oh, me.
Yeah, I do.
Go and share
Cool.
it. Love to see it if you're ready.
It's just a picture. It's not a
Okay,
film.
it's a picture. Okay.
He flew that plane at Winston-Salem and our 4A contest, and it showed me the static prop that he had on it. It was kind of rotating and it had little bitty gears in it. It looked like it belonged in a watch. That when you turned the front prop, the rear prop turned the other way, and it was just amazing. I thought it flew on that prop. I said, "You telling me that these little bitty gears will handle this motor spinning these props?" He said, "Oh no, it's just for static." I said, "Okay, now I understand." Okay.
One of the old Windy videos has that actually. It was sort of detailed rundown on it.
You guys have seen some of Keith's work. His work is just impeccable. Looks like he just took the real plane and shrunk it. And very few people have ever been able to impress me with a semi-scale the way he and Al Rabe, and there's a few others have done it, but there's just a few that can really pull that off. And Keith's one of them.
Yeah. Hey, Dennis, I think I lied. This wasn't 70. This was 2000.
Ooh, wow, look at that.
But
wow.
Sorry.
Oh, look at that.
That's a sharp
But
looking
that was a
model.
winning flight in 2000.
Wow.
Look at that, though.
Is that a picture of the same plane you showed us a while back, Keith?
No, this one's in the museum.
Wow.
What I showed you a little bit while ago, that's a semi-scale version of this that I finished a year or so ago.
Wow, beautiful. Now, what engine did you have in this one?
This was an OS 60, rear drum 60, OS 60H with a rear drum on it.
With a rear drum on it? What's that?
Rear drum rotor. The intake came up at the back.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Very nice looking plane. Wow.
Got a whole bunch of pictures, but let's not take the time to show that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really,
now that plane
really pretty.
pretty good, obviously. That one can stunt. That one can do the pattern.
No, this is scale.
Oh, scale. Okay.
One precision scale to 2000 nats.
Wow.
Very nice. Beautiful.
Anyway.
Very nice.
Thank you very much, Keith.
I'm using that as an excuse to show my picture, and I lied about Dennis, you held it once before, but that was another contest.
Yeah. I think in Chicago, that was like the first time you had it out, first contest you'd had it to and stuff. And I know that you added a lot of detailing with it. Even I don't remember the bottom of it being yellow when we first flew it. It was gray then.
First time it was gray.
Yeah.
Because I had 3 views, air modeler drawings, which were supposedly the standard of the day, said medium light gray. on the bottom. And later I had references that it was yellow. And I even wrote a letter to Sir James Martin himself
Really?
and asked him if the airplane was ever painted anything but yellow. And he sent back a handwritten note with a whole bunch of other questions, but a handwritten note on that one. He just said, no.
Well, I guess yellow, the yellow on the bottom was like a standard prototype finish for, you know,
Yeah.
for British aircraft, you know.
For
Yeah,
during the war, it was, yeah. And it's called,
Pictures of the Spitfire profiles I have.
yeah.
3 different models of Spitfire. They're all yellow underneath.
Mhm.
And almost all the prototype airplanes the Brits had, they were yellow on the bottom.
Yeah,
Mhm. So
it's pretty neat.
That's why their British gunners wouldn't try to shoot it down. If they see a fighter looking airplane that didn't have standard type British markings on it, why they would shoot it down, but the trainer yellow told them not to shoot at it.
mhm.
Just for the same reason they British put yellow leading edges on their airplanes. So the ground gunners wouldn't mistake that for something else.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, very.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wasn't able to join in Monday night, but I was able to watch a little bit on the YouTube, and I finally got a chance to see the sweepy that you did.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Oh, heck,
it's
I'll
an
have to go back and
amazing
watch that
thing. It
tape.
looks like it should have been capable of at least, it should have been capable of doing the old time pattern. I would have thought, maybe not, I mean, not like a big job or something like that, but it seems like it should have been possible, doesn't it? So
It just came out too heavy.
yeah.
It probably could be built lighter. I built it according to the plans.
Mhm.
Came out heavy.
Yeah.
With a thin airfoil, it wasn't going to make it. Like I said, the closest thing it could do to anything in the old time pattern was a 45-degree climb and a 45-degree dive. Try
Yeah.
anything more than that, it would never recover.
The some of the old time airplanes, you know, they're small, around 200 square inches or so and stuff, and it seems like some of them will work and some don't. Bob Zambelli built an Icarus Junior. All right.
Yeah.
Cosby, Cosby.
Cosby, I think.
Yeah. Okay. And I know you've built the Pagan, and he's got a whole bunch of airplanes out there. But Bob Zambelli built the Icarus Junior, which is a really tiny airplane. I don't know that it's 200 square inches. It certainly isn't any more than that. But it also has, it shows on the plans, and he duplicated it. It has an ETA 29 on it, which was, I think, a British copy of the McCoy 29 team race engine.
Good
So it's a
grief.
fairly hot engine, and Bob's using one of those, and airplane flies a little fast and stuff, but it flies quite well. And so I don't know. I've got a plan for something that's called the Little Roadie. It's a 200 square inch airplane, and I've got a kit cut out for it, and I've been really scared to build it because I just don't know that it'll fly. It should fly. It should fly an old time pattern. I have no illusions about it, you know, being competitive or anything like that, but I don't want to build it just to fly around level either. And I just keep wondering, is there some kind of silver bullet? Is there some secret to making those little airplanes fly well? So
Lots of horsepower.
horsepower and speed, horsepower and big prop. You know,
If I had the
what's it
answer to
take?
that, I'd be flying little airplanes too.
Yeah.
Telling you.
Yeah. You know, some of the small zilches are really tiny.
Yeah.
There is one in the what Lil Duper zilch is,
Wee
I think,
Duper.
around. No,
Wee Duper zilch.
Wee Duper is around 250. That one flies pretty well.
Yeah, it does. Flies great.
Because it's got a really nice wing on it, really nice airfoil. The Lil Duper is like the Super Duper or whatever. It's got a thin wing, but it's around 400 square inches.
Wow.
I think it would fly well with a Fox 35 on it or something like that, but it would have to be probably in the mid 20 ounce to maybe 32 or something like that.
What's the half A one? I can't remember the name of it. I thought it was the Weed Duper.
Weed Duper was a half A. It's like a 250 square inch airplane. I've
Yeah,
got one of
that one
those.
flies well.
There we go.
Oh, that's
there's the Cosby airplane.
And this is the small one.
Yeah.
And it says 325 square inches on a 42-inch span. It has a rear intake 8 at 29.
Good
And it's
gracious.
kind of a pretty airplane. And the big one flies really well.
Yeah.
Wasn't the big one called a Icarus or something like that?
Yeah, that's what this is.
Oh, okay.
This is Icarus Jr.
Okay. I remember
Very nice.
Rusty Brown flew one of those very well.
That had 780 square inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Phil, I'm almost certain you've seen Zambelli fly that airplane.
Yeah, I have. And it flies very well.
Yeah, he let me fly it once. I was very happy, very tickled to death with it, the way it flew. It just I mean, it didn't have any funny quirks or anything to it. It was great. So
We had a fella come out Saturday, Mark. I cannot remember his last name, but the last time I saw him was like 40 years ago. He was a kid that used to come out and fly with some of the older combat guys. Hobby Park used to be jumping on Saturday morning. We had two guys take the first circle, and they were always flying Goodyear or Rat Race or Team Race, one of the three. It was always racing over there. Stunt was always on the back circle because guys could, we could walk. They didn't care. We could walk. And then the combat circle was always humming with the combat guys. The last time I saw Mark, he was 15, 16 years old, I think. And Saturday he's retired and white haired and full beard mustache. That was a culture shock. But he's talking about coming back and flying with us, building a stunner and coming back and flying with us now that he knows we're still around. And he was stunned that it was the same 5 old buzzers that were there the last time he was there 40 years ago. Tom Looper, Terry McDowell, Buddy Barbie. Well, we don't, one was missing. There was 4 out of the 5, and myself. And it was kind of neat. We had a good time just talking with him. It was good to talk to him again. But I'm telling you, some of these people, man, some of the stories he was telling brought back some memories I'd long since forgotten.
Hey Phil, you was missing when Keith showed his Tommy Looper pilot that he made for him.
Oh yeah.
You must have seen some pretty neat pilots. I know Sparky has a Clark Kent or Clark Gable.
Clark Gable. And I've got one in my Jameson special that Tommy carved. It looks like oh come on. Oh me. It was a NASCAR driver, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. I always thought it looked like Dale Earnhardt. He said it was me, but I think it looks like Dale Earnhardt.
If you have a Tom Looper pilot, you've got a museum piece.
Well, I've got one in the Jameson. I have one coming from my Humongous, and I have one coming from my Ombre 35 when we build the Ombres. I tell you, he asked me about if I'd build an Ombre 35. I said, I tell you what, I'll build an Ombre, and I'll even loan you a motor for one because I know you don't have the motor for it anymore. I'll loan you an Air Tiger, and I'll build one if you'll make the propellers, if you'll make the pilots for it. Huh. He says, well, I don't think we got room for a pilot in that thing. The fuselage was too thin. I said, you said you were going to modify that. Oh, okay. All right. So I think I've got him talked into doing the pilots for me for that one too. So Tommy is an artist. I mean, he's a great modeler. He's a great flyer. He's a great fella, but he's an artist. And when he sets out to do something, it's done. If you want to see some beautiful plans, Tommy's plans get a little involved because he shades it. He's colorblind, so he can't do some colors. You never know it. His wife does the color picking for him, and he comes and draws these pictures but his shading is just exquisite. He did a P-51 Mustang drawing for me, and he drew in the shading and all for it, and weathered and everything. I put it in a frame. It's on the wall in the basement. It looked like a piece of artwork. I took it and had it copied, and I used the copy for a plan, but the original is hanging downstairs.
Wow, amazing.
Wow.
He's a heck of an artist. And he did, my SE5A is actually a 38 special that Tommy redrew as a SE5A. But the original drawing is so neat that people wanted to borrow it and copy it. I said, I'll make you a copy. I'm not letting that one out of my hands. I've lost too many copies. I've lost too many plans. But he's amazing. Tommy's amazing. We've had some guys right here could really do some stuff. We had a guy that could carve propellers like nobody I've ever seen. We lost him a year or two ago, but Elmer Huff, he was actually a speed guy. But he got interested in helping Tommy and I out one time and carved us some propellers. That's when I learned about Phillips entry and concave props and all that stuff. And man, you learn it from wherever you can. But some of these guys, some of the guys think, don't pay no attention to him. He's too old. He don't remember. You better listen, because he was back flying when this was not, you didn't just go to the store and buy it.
Right.
And it's amazing the stuff you'll learn if you just listen. But
we got there, Dennis.
That's cute. That's a We Do for Zilch.
Let me make you big, Dennis. 1 second. Okay, there we go.
Right.
All right.
Cool.
All right, now the one thing I want to see, where the tip rib is much smaller than the other ribs, where does it start going down? Is it just the last rib? Okay.
Just the last rib.
You gotta put your mic down again. Your boom is up.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, just the last rib tapers down about a 1/16 of an inch.
Okay.
And I actually figured out why that was. The plans actually show the wingtips being planked.
Yeah.
You plank it, it comes up to the thickness of the rest of the wing.
Oh yeah. Okay. See
and so, but yeah, this thing has, you can kind of see it. It's got a real airfoil on it. All right.
It does.
And
that one and the Super Duper or Zilch X, I think, really have
Zilch
airfoil.
X. Yeah, this is really a mini Zilch X when you come right down to it. It's just, and so the wing, the airfoil is beautiful on it. It really works. The thing weighs, it's electric, of course, it weighs 13 ounces. And
wow.
It's a shame to do an old time pattern with it because it does a better modern pattern. So
isn't that wild? Cool.
Wow.
Yeah. What would the wingspan be on that, Dennis?
It was about 36 inches. It's about 250 squares.
Okay.
You ever let me fly electric in Brodax, I'll have my half-A Pathfinder and my Wee Duper Zilch on hand. All right.
That's awesome.
Neat deal.
This was something I did. I took all of my family's AMA numbers and put them together, and you could read them in different ways.
That's cool.
This is Arch's number. This is my number. The 3 digits were my dad's number. This is Dave's number. And my nephew's number, you had to go like this or something like that. And it's just,
cool.
just our name there,
That is cool.
Cool.
Very nice Monaco job too.
Well, clear Monaco makes you look
Monaco.
like a hero. So
or film, yeah, very nice.
He does some beautiful Monaco work.
This is the first one I did with just the cord-wise stripes. And I really liked the way it turned out. And I've been doing that on a lot of different airplanes since. But this thing flies like crazy.
It's cute.
So.
Very nice.
The only thing
we
I
were
don't
talking
understand
about Wee Duper Zilches a couple of minutes ago. It just seemed appropriate to bring it out. So
yeah, that's neat. That's neat. I think Stafford was way ahead of his time. Some of his thinking.
Phil, you were saying a few minutes ago, how nice it was to run into some of these old guys you haven't seen in a long time. I just recently, last week, discovered some of the old guys from my old control line days that got into RC. They get together every Friday at one of the restaurants and have breakfast. So I dropped in on them. It was so nice to see 3 or 4 of the old faces from way back when. Amazing.
Yeah.
Recognize me.
That's it.
We have Tom Ramley. He provided us a like. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for the likes. Now we're up to 27 likes. Appreciate that.
Oh me. Well, I think I'm gonna have to take the dog out. He's getting to be more of a pest than I can deal with.
Okay, well, we're gonna be.
I may
ending
be
the
back in
live
a few
stream.
minutes if I can.
We'll be back because Peter's going to share
How
what's
he's
happening
been?
with
Yeah, I
him in
want to
the
hear
after
that.
party. So you want to
I want to hear that because I'm really glad to see Pete again. Don't be gone so long, you old buzzard. We missed you.
Yeah,
Take care.
All righty. So have you been flying, Keith? You and your Jerry, you guys been flying or not?
No.
Oh, weather?
Well, weather's kind of iffy and hot. And lowest it ever gets out there anymore seems like it's about 5 miles an hour, and then it goes up. We've had a couple good days, but it's hot.
Yeah, it's been hot in my garage. I've been working in my garage and it's 91 degrees.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's 6,000 foot altitude for the field, and then 95 degrees. It's more like 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I think I've got a temperature problem flying my big job in that heat. I haven't compensated right with fuel, so I have to play around with that. And I think I forgot everything that Roy Trentham ever tried to teach me about chasing temperature and altitude with nitro. So next time out, I've checked everything else. There's no leaks anywhere, no dirt in the filter, no dirt in the fuel line or spray bar. So it has to be, I have to put up more nitro to compensate for the temperature. We'll see.
Are you going to go to the joust out here in Whittier in a couple weeks? It's a
No.
contest.
No.
Okay. There's a contest, by the way, just for FYI, at Wood and Arrows. It's August 20th to the 21st. And let me see, do I have the flyer?
That's a good contest, and it's normally you'll have good weather.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the flyer. I thought I had the flyer.
People out there know how to run a contest.
Yeah, I think Warren Walker's going to be the CD.
Can't do much better than that.
No. And he's making paella. So, you know.
And that's a treat.
It'd be worth
Have you ever been there? Have you ever done that before?
Oh, yeah, I've gone there several times.
Okay.
I've been competing there. I guess after you went out to Arizona, I started competing there. My first beginner contest. Well, actually, my second beginner contest was at Wood and Arrows. My first beginner contest was in Ramona. That's the first time I saw you. Was at Ramona with Dave Sabon when he CD'd.
Yeah.
Can't find the flyer, but I believe Saturday is old time profile classic event, and then Sunday is full Pampa. But I don't have the oh, here we go. So Saturday is old time stunt, classic aerobatics, profile. And they're gonna have carrier, and they're gonna have slow combat, and fuel shutouts are required. And then Sunday is full Pampa. That's expert, advanced, intermediate, beginner, and then they have fast combat on Sunday. That's August 20th, 21st. That's Wood and Arrows, which is in South El Monte. It's a nice site. They have I think it's 3 paved circles, and they have a grass field, and they have a speed cage as well.
wow.
So if you have nothing better to do, come on out. And I'm planning on being there, and we usually have a pretty good turnout. So I'm looking forward to going to be my first contest this year. And it's kind of a primer for me going to the Las Vegas Stunt Challenge in November.
Gonna fly the SV11?
Yeah, SV11's first contest. It's going to be.
Good show.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see how it does.
That's good.
Yeah, so I've been working hard on the SV11, and hopefully I'll go flying tomorrow, hopefully, or fly as often as I can, because when it's getting close to a contest, I fly as often as I can, except for weekends, because we have a public park I fly at.
What size prop are you running on that?
Right now I have a badass 12.6 pusher prop on it.
Okay.
And I like that. I actually have another 3-blade prop. It's a little bit cut. I think it's the 11 and a half by 5.5. And that requires me to speed the motor up, which I'm trying to figure out the battery, make sure I don't use too much battery. So right now I'm comfortable with the badass wooden prop. I had a APC 12.6 prop on it before.
On my 76, I'm going to run a 14.5 BY&O. It looks like two canoe paddles coming off the thing.
I bet. Yeah, I missed my big props, with my stalker and stuff like that. I was flying big props. Yeah, so it's different. It's a different look.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy in Vancouver getting out of all his control line stuff, and so I cleaned him out of a bunch. I needed another couple of airplanes, like a hole in the head, but with the engines, they were practically free. So got another smoothie with a Brodak 40 in it, and a flight streak with a LA 25, and a bunch of tanks and all kinds of stuff. And he had 30 or 40 propellers, ranging from about a 9.4 to 13.7 or something like that. So and some 3 blades and composite ones. So I just cleaned them out.
Propellers are so important. It's like trying to find the right gear, and you need to go through your assortment of propellers to find the right prop. And once you find the right prop, everything seems to come together. I haven't done a whole lot of experimentation with electric.
Until you break it and can't find another one.
Yeah.
I know. I usually make sure I have 2 props. When you fall in love with a prop, oh man, you don't want anything to happen to it. Yeah, I usually buy them in pairs, but unfortunately I have just one badass prop, so I need to buy another one. But yeah.
Len, have you been running those 12.5 rev ups we got from Mike at all?
I haven't run anything that small yet this year.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Same here.
For my 56s and 60s, they might be a little bit small. The 13s.
Yeah, it might be okay on a 56. On a 60, generally about a 13.
But I'm thinking, for my 51 and my 46s, run them
perfect.
Down some.
Yeah. 50. It's basically a 51 prop. Yeah, and it works good on a 46 if you cut it down a little bit.
Yeah, because I have 3 LA 46s and a couple of super taggers, and I've got 2 FP 40, not FPs, FX 46s and an AX. Yeah. So between all those, cutting them down or playing around with them, they should be pretty good. I bought 30 of them, I think, off Mike. So
yeah, I haven't got quite that many, but almost.
Yeah, I can afford to make splinters.
I came back from Brodax with 33 props when I went to Brodax.
Wow. I did that a couple of times too, Charles. Go to Brodax and buy all the used props that you can find.
Yeah, because they're $1 a piece.
$1 a pop. How can you lose?
$2. I think the most expensive prop I bought there, and it was a good prop. It was a Rev Up prop. Forgot what it was. It might have been a 13.6. I paid $4 or $5 for that. But all the others were all $1 or $2. And you see these big old piles of props, And yeah, it's just a great opportunity at Brodax.
From the Nats there, I had to give Paul Jabot a bunch of heck because he bought a bunch of stuff from Jim Lee, and he didn't phone me that Jim Lee was there, or else it would have had him pick me up a bunch of stuff from him.
Oh, just make a note. He's always there. I think he's always there. I mean, at big events like VSC, the Nats, and you can find Jim Lee at these big contests.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, last time I mail ordered stuff from him, I just got murdered by postage.
Oh yeah, to Canada, yeah.
This stuff is outstanding, though.
And the main thing I wanted was his 1/4-inch fillet forming ball tool, and I got 2 5/16 and no 1/4 inch, and all the big ones that I will never use. I could have just bought cake decorating ones from Amazon for next to nothing, but I believe in supporting the little guy as much as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I paid probably 10 times as much buying from Jim, but to me it was worth it.
Yeah. And it's probably personalized, right? Did he put your name on it?
I didn't put my name on them, no, but
Yeah, he put my name on my clip bender.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got the
I have
little crank handle, for bending the wires, got my
Sure,
name
yeah.
on it. So
yeah.
Well, I definitely want some drill guides for him for engines, especially for Super Tiger 46 and 60, the OS 46s. Yeah, maybe even the Fox 35. I got so many of them too. But it'd be nice to get the drill guides from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you seen his tire wrap little machine that he has to do
the lead outs?
the wraps on your lines? Yeah, lead outs. I bought one, and someone said to me, "I'm sorry."
Sparky did a video on that a few years ago too.
I love them. They're very easy to work with, and they can really give you some nice tight loops. So
yeah,
nice tool.
Yeah.
All right.
What's up, Keith?
We're talking about, change the subject here, talking about that OS 60 with a rear drum. And I don't know whether this shows up very well or
Let me
not.
make it big. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, wow.
And they were the engine of choice for the big RC guys back in the 60s and 70s, like 70s, I guess.
Very nice. Yeah,
and they made an 80 version of this as well.
Whew.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah, I've got one of those here.
Yeah.
Just missing somebody had buggered up the carb mount there on it, grounded off or something for whatever reason.
The carburetor in the back?
Yeah, if you look, it's ground off flat or something there. I don't know. There was no carburetor for it.
Do you want one?
Actually, I'd love one if you got a spare.
Well, I have a spare engine. I don't think when I was getting ready to give that airplane to the museum, I wanted to keep this engine because it was good.
Yep.
And so I scrounged up a couple junkers off of eBay. And so I've got a couple extra engines that I could use for spare parts. One of them I know is totally shot. The engine looks totally shot. So
That'd be
does yours still have the boss in the back? So it just got being held on by 2 little screws.
Camera.
Raise it up higher. It's Keith. Raise it up higher. There we go.
You see the bosses on the back?
Yeah, I think it still has that.
Well, here in the bot where you can still bolt on the Venturi thing.
Yeah, I've got the
Venturi throttle.
There, it looks like everything is still there.
Why don't you come on Stunthangar and send me a message what your address is?
I'll do that, Keith. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I can take that.
Worst to you, I'd be happy to PayPal you or send a money order, whatever.
No, unless the postage gets excessive, why? I'll just send it to you.
Well,
I'll send it to you anyway. We'll see what the postage is. If it's a lot, why? Maybe you can buy me a Coke or a hamburger or something someday.
Sounds terrific, Keith. I'll do that.
Keith, I have a question from the chat box. This is from Jonathan Cardotas. He says, Keith, is your crankcase ventilated with plenty of airflow? Do you run caster?
Oh, you mean on my big job? Yeah, it's never had a temperature problem before. It's just this altitude and temperature, I think, is getting to it. And it's got plenty of air getting into the engine. That's not a problem.
Well, that's an experienced airplane. You've been flying that a lot of years and a lot of sites. And
yeah, it's got to be 15, 18 years old, maybe more.
Yeah.
In fact, I can tell you just a minute when it first built. Just a minute.
All right.
Just had a message pop up. Hi, Coffee.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Caffeine, you're back. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to be transitioning to the after party. So I want to thank everybody for coming in. I really appreciate it. And we had pretty good turnout. It's been a good show. Mondays are really good shows as well as Fridays. So I just want to end the show and say, hey, we'll be back Friday. Go out there and have some fun. Come back and tell us all about it. And we will see you Friday.